Well, howdy everybody. Welcome to the shop. I appreciate you stopping by. And for any of you watching this currently, Happy New Year. For those of you in the future, well, that's a little late getting to you. Well, we got the South Bend 9A lathe all done and refurbished. You've seen that, so now it's time to go on to some accessories. I've got this here 3-jaw chuck I want to clean up. It's pretty dirty, as you can see. So I'd like to take it apart. It's real stiff turning it. So I want to clean out the inside, put it on the wire wheel, get all the rust off of it, and make it look good so it looks good sitting on the rest of the lathe. So I've never done one of these before. Then I'd never done a lathe before, and that turned out pretty good. So let's get to it and see what we can find. I think the first thing we need to do is to take off this back plate. On lathes, you can see this line here. This back part is a plate with this internal thread that matches the thread of the South Bend 9A. I point out to my shop, you can't see out there, sorry about that. So usually when you buy a lathe, you're just buying this part up here. I mean a chuck. When you buy a chuck, you're just buying this part up here without a backing plate. And you've got to get a backing plate to fit your particular lathe. So those are an accessory to the accessory, as you might say. So let's get that off of there, and just got 3 cap head screws. See if I can choose the right size. Come on now. It went too big. Hopefully those will all come off nice and easy like. Just looking down in there, I can see a lot of built up swarf and ugliness, and so this puppy does need a good cleaning, that's for sure. See a lot of rust on the backside here, and that should just pop off real light like. I should be using a brass hammer, but I don't own one yet. That might be an upcoming project on the lathe. Not budging at all. And I think that's just screwed on there. I don't think there's any grooves or anything it's engaged into. There it goes. Okay, it did have a little recess that sat down inside. Yeah, look at all that junk and rust. Whew. That's dirty. Now we'll take off these jaws are, the thing I like about this particular chuck is these jaws are removable, so you can spin them around for inside or outside. Now we need the bigger one. I don't know if you can hear that, but I can hear all the grinding of the metal chips that are down in there, and dirt and crud and everything else. And I noticed that the inside cap screw is longer than the outside one for that bigger step, for the bigger distance of the step there. Have to remember that when I put it back together. And you can see right in here is where that tooth. Just pops right off, but it's got some engagement pins here that go there. That way it helps hold the holes in alignment each time, no matter which way you are putting it. Looks like somebody was doing a lot of brass with this. A lot of brass chips down in here. I think we'll take these three out next. Those are getting smaller. Now from this point on in this disassembly, I don't know what I'm going to run into. I've swapped around teeth before, and I've changed backing plates before, but I've never actually taken one of these apart, so that's a little oddball size screw there. It's a different one. The 3/16 is too small, and the 7/32 is too big. So you'll have to remember that. Hopefully it's not a different size screw altogether. Doesn't look it. And notice that each one of these screws lines up with where an adjustment is on this chuck, so I'm not exactly sure if that has anything to do with that or not. Looks like down inside those holes there's some springs, but I really can't tell. It just could be marks from the bottom of these screws and grease and crud built up. Well, let's take those screws out and see what happens. They kept it nicely lubricated because it's all nothing's real tight. I'm scraping this out in here, a lot of oil and brass filings, to see if I see a line, and I do. I think this is like a backing plate or a back cover that appears to, I see a line down in there all the way around, so I think that is like a back plate. It does appear to be moving. Yeah, that's coming out nicely. There we are. Whew, look how rusty that is. Oh, here's the new star of the family. Rascal, you're getting in the way and you can't be up here right now. This is my shop mouser. Rascal, say hi to everybody. Oh boy. When I'm out here, he loves to be everywhere, to be helping as much as he can. looks like down in there. Hard to tell because all the grease. Maybe I should have soaked this for a while first before I decided to take it apart. Looks like there's a real teeny little square head screw that might be holding this gear into that. Can't tell for sure. I'm guessing. I'm not speaking with any authority there. I'm just kind of taking a guess. What else would be holding that gear in place to keep it from popping out? Get this back on camera so you can see. What else would be holding this little pinion gear here? And it does move a little bit in and out. I'm thinking there might be a little screw down in there holding that in place. Let's see what we can figure out. Well, one thing I didn't tell you all, there are no markings on this chuck at all, so I don't know who the manufacturer is or when, or so if any of you can tell by the internal workings that you've seen one like this before, hey, please let me know in the comments. I wouldn't mind knowing. Nothing on the outside, nothing on the front, nothing on the back that I could find, but pretty dirty. Once I start cleaning up, we might find something, who knows. I'm just a little dumbfounded as to what to do next now though, boys. Having once been a pipe fitter and used the rigid 300 pipe threading machine quite a bit, we had a automatic jaw closer that closed up on the pipe to hold it in place, a chuck basically, while you threaded the end of the pipe. It was similar type teeth, and those teeth holders, actually the jaw holders, similar to this, if you consider that the jaw, were all numbered, and they had to go back in a specific location on the chuck. So I'm going to do a little cleaning up on this before I go any further, because I don't want to pull these out and get them mixed up. So we got it cleaned up a little bit, and I'm glad I did. Discovered that these do go in a certain order and come out in a certain order. So they have to go back in exactly where they're supposed to be. And I found some marks on here. I don't know if you'll be able to see that or not. It's pretty faint. Put it right side up to you guys in case it does show up, and I'll just keep moving around hoping the light catches it. But it's a PUTm, P-U-T, all capital letters M, right next to it in small letters, M5ZD number 606 dash, well, it's 6606 on the second line, and third line is a 70 dash. So that's all the marks I found on it, but these do have to go back in the same exact spot. In fact, one of them has already come out. This one here has already disengaged from the thread. So I'm going to stamp those so I put them back in the right order. Two ways you can do to stamp this. I'm going to use numeral stamps because I have a set. So I'm going to stamp the back end of the jaw, and then I'm going to stamp the case right there next to it. I'm going to stamp them 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3. If you don't have a number set, you could take a center punch and put 1 dot, 1 dot. On the other one, do 2 dots, and then the third one, do 3 dots. So that's another way you could do it. Many different ways you can do things as long as you know what you did and you understand it. So I've got a 3 here. These are just 1/8 inch tall letters. I'm going to turn this around facing me the way I'm going to do them. And I'm going to stamp these backwards. Since this is the first one coming out, it would be the last one going in. So that's why it's going to be number 3. See how well that showed up? Boy, it didn't show up at all. That's what I was afraid of. Good hardened steel. Let's see what this does. Alright, that one showed up there. But that did not show up on the end of that at all. I tried giving it just a little bit better of a whack. Nope. Okay, let's do it right there on that flat. Shouldn't interfere with anything. Yeah, that shows up. Okay, good. So there's 3. Next one we'll do, next one that comes out will be number 2. There it is. I'm still in. Number 2 there. I can see that. And I can see that. Now the reason I'm numbering these backwards, so when I put it back together, number 1 is going to go in first as it engages the threads. And then of course number 3, and then number 2, and then number 3 last. So I'm doing it backwards now, but when I put it back together, it will be forwards. Kind of misstruck on that one a little bit, but it made a mark, so we'll be able to tell. Going the wrong way. Forgive my sniffly nose. It's a cold day here in the Ozarks. And the diesel in my cleaning tank was pretty cold too. So if you'll notice, you can see the differences. You got a broken tooth right there in the jaws. 2 broken teeth right there on that one. Hope that doesn't affect it at the bigger pieces. Somebody's done some whaling on this puppy dog, or crashed it, one of the 2. But on the outside here, what you see on the back when you're first pulling them out, what you would see looking down here, you can see the differences, so you know which they have to go in a certain order because of that spiral thread. And that is in order, 1, 2, and 3. Alright, let's see what we can get done next now. And you can see those spiral threads there that engage is a little broken right there too. I don't know how well you can see that on camera, but that tooth's broken a little bit. So this puppy has seen some hard use. That's for sure. Since I've cleaned that almost looks like that might be a bit of a set screw down in there. Definitely something in there. I don't think it's a set screw. It might be. Oh, there it is. Okay. That is some type of an alignment pin. As you can see there, it's been milled. Let me see if I can clean that off a little bit. That's what this towel's for. Not only is it a tape protect my tabletop, but it's a rag too. So yes, that's an alignment pin of some type. And that's just a hole in there, I guess, to dig it out with. Now my question is, and I'm going to wonder, are they different? Look at that junk in there. And they look about the same. Well, that puppy's sticking down in there and don't want to come out. So is that then what holds those in place? Yes, it is. Okay. There we go. So that pin, so they would all be the same, comes down and rides in that slot right there as you're turning this to keep that pinion gear in place. Figured there had to be something keeping those in there. Just couldn't tell what. There we go. And number 3. Boy, that is stiff in there. There it goes. And for those of you who can't tell, that is a brass rod that I just bought for making a punch out of, which will be an upcoming project on the lathe. Alright, well, there it is. All these teeth look good. I don't see any breakage in there, some wear. And I don't see any breakage in here except for a little chip there and a little chip there at the end of the threads. You see how this spins? That just draws these in and out. And that's why you have to put these in the exact location so that your center's distances are all the same because of that spiral. Well, that was easy enough getting it apart. Now to clean it up, let it soak overnight, and then we'll put it on the wire wheel, try to get all this rust off of there. So, see you tomorrow, gents.